This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to Season 16, Episode number 3532. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, The Ted Smith, and my cock, Montgomery, and you are in the Men's Room. On tap today, Ryan Castle joins us from his basement studio dungeon bar. Once again, we will sit and spin. And today, we get dumb with the 10 dumbest songs of all times. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, the Men's Room Shot of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Tim. Clack, drink. All right, here we go. A man takes one last spin in his Corvette before selling it and promptly flips it into a ditch. Yeah, that super death speed roller coaster, it was shut down in Japan because of one glaring glitch. 2 Florida men in Simpsons t-shirts are arrested with drugs after a traffic stop. Look at that fake alligator at Disney World. Oh, wait, that is not a prop. And a genius scientist, they discovered the closer you get to a rattlesnake. Listen to this. The closer you get to a rattlesnake, the louder the rattle. Almost as if it was trying to warn you. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, as Miles said, a roller coaster in Japan, whose name roughly translates to bone breaker, has been shut down indefinitely because it's been breaking bones. And apparently it's been doing so for months. But at least you have to be on that roller coaster to be injured. At Ohio's Cedar Point Amusement Park, a woman was injured waiting in line for the roller coaster. A metal piece of the Top Thrill dragster broke off, hit her in the head. She's in intensive care with a brain injury, but she survived. So I guess she's lucky. Or as lucky as anyone can be when they're hit in the head with flying metal. In India, a construction worker, he survived after a 20-foot metal pole smashed through his head. It even pierced his brain, but after a 4-hour surgery, doctors give him a 90% chance of survival. Should be noted he'll need another surgery to reconstruct his skull. And while we're on the subject, Oakland A's pitcher Chris Bassett, he'll need surgery to repair his face after he was hit in the face by a line drive. Now, I don't know if this part is good or bad, but they say he was conscious the whole time, probably in a lot of pain, but still, I'd rather be him than the man in Canada who survived a polar bear attack. But he has the memory of what the bear's tooth puncturing his eyeball felt like. Oh. Just let that sink in for a second. Yeah, and it came after him 3 separate times. I'd go ahead and say no thank you. But look, the one thing all of these stories have in common is something that's happened to all of us. You take damage to the noggin, You take damage to the face. We had a guy who texted in the other day and said at 5 years old, it's the first time his sister hit him in the head with a golf putter, made his ears bleed. So today, the question is very simple. What not so awesome thing happened to your head or face?
Be a part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
We return to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
All the patrols and away we go. Welcome to season 16, episode number 3532. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Once again, Ryan Castle will join us from his basement studio dungeon bar, and we will sit and spin. And today, we get a little dumb with the 10 dumbest songs of all times. Now, not only are these songs dumb, but for the most part, all these songs at one point in time were hits that people actually listened to and somewhat liked, even though they're maybe not the most intelligent tunes in the world.
Generally, those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah. There's a writer in Minnesota, and he put together a list of 20 songs that he thinks are the dumbest of all times. Some of those on the list you have heard before. Others maybe you have not. But either way, we've narrowed it down to the top 10 and the 10 dumbest songs of all times coming up with Ryan Castle, as we'll once again sit and spin. And today on the Men's Room Happy Hour, episode number 25, as we go to the Odyssey app right off these very airwaves every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock and do the Men's Room Happy Hour. That is on the Men's Room Happy Hour page there. If you download the Odyssey app, just search for the Men's Room. At 6 o'clock, we go off these airwaves and take it straight to the Odyssey app, which allows us to have a little bit more freedom than we do as we are governed by the FCC. Those rules are not in place, which will allow us to expand, so to say, on our content. Today on the Men's Room Happy Hour, the return of Man versus Beast and Man versus Man, or should we say Man versus Children.
In this case, yes.
Yes, exactly, with the return of Man versus Man and Man versus Beast. And today on the question, we're going to go over to Japan and start it out with, we talked a lot about Action Park. Probably a month or so ago, as we learned a lot about that amusement park in New Jersey that was shut down many years ago based on the danger of the rides.
I don't know that amusement is the word I'd use for that place.
Action Park. Action Park. There was a documentary that was made on Action Park. Actually, we talked to Jerry Cantrell. They played Headbangers Ball there at one point in time, and he was telling us all the rides that they did and all the crazy stuff and just how insane it really was.
Yeah.
You know, at the same point in time, Miggs from BJ and Miggs, he grew up in the area. He went there regularly. I'm not sure that he understood the danger involved.
There was just that one ride that he was like, the parents did not let us go on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, for him, he's like, that's where you went in the summer.
But
right?
you have a relatively, for the most part, just a feeling of safe, when you go to an amusement park and you ride a ride. Now, it's different if you go to the county fair and they pull up something, on an 18-wheeler and, put it in a field and you look up and go, oh, man, I don't know about that one. But when you go to an amusement park, and you see these giant roller coasters and everything else, you're like, hey, this is safe. Obviously, this ride is...
It's supposed to be adrenaline-inducing and scary, but yeah, you believe it's safe. It's engineers, years of work.
I'm taller than this guy or this gopher or whatever the hell it is. I don't have a heart condition.
I'm not pregnant.
All the things that
taller than the candy.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So, you get on the ride, and typically it ends up being a pretty good time. But that's not always the case. A roller coaster in Japan, capable of hitting speeds of up to 112 miles an hour, has been shut down indefinitely, pending an investigation into whether injuries sustained by passengers were linked to the ride.
They were.
Yes. A press statement released by the park states the roller coaster will be closed due to a safety overhaul. Statement says that 4 passengers have reported being injured on the ride between December 2020 and August 2021, and adds that currently the casual relationship between injuries and the amusement machines has not yet been confirmed. That's lawyer speak. According to the government, the 4 incidents were among men and women in the 30 to 50 age range. All had significant injuries, including a cervical fracture and a thoracic spine fracture, the later of which can require up to 3 months in the hospital.
Dang.
Representative for the park would not comment specifically on the allegations of the bone-breaking injuries. The accidents were reported by the passengers. Despite the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, theme parks across Japan have been open since June of 2020. At the time, a directive urged roller coaster riders to scream in their hearts rather than out loud in order to reduce the risk of virus transmission.
They might want to redo the roller coasters they're offering then. Because this particular one, it's not that it hits 112 miles an hour. It said it goes from like 0 to 112 miles an hour in less than 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. We would like to offer our heartfelt sympathy and apologize for the inconvenience we caused to the related parties. According to Fuji Q, the coaster has 4,080 feet of track, with the top of its loop clocking in at about 161 feet above the ground. There is currently no reopening date for the roller coaster to start operations again. And with that said, a little update here. This is kind of weird, but this is just something that was printed this week, and it was an interview with Fabio. And we always joke about the fact that Fabio, the guy who sold, what was the butter product, margarine product?
I can't believe it's not butter.
Was it I Can't Believe It's Not Butter?
Yes.
Fabio's Italian, and he was the spokesperson for the company. And at one point in time, and he did all kinds of different things. He's a male model. He was working with an endorsement deal, and they sent him down to
Well, he mainly got famous for being on the cover of those trashy
the Harlequin novel. But he was like the main muse that they used to paint all of those different covers. Right. He was the guy.
So back in 1999, he had a gig in Williamsburg, Virginia at the Busch Gardens amusement park down there. Now, again, this is some 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And to this day, Fabio has not commented on the incident, but he did this week. Mm-hmm. He actually spoke about it. It was in 1999, and he's speaking out about the bloody mishap, where it appeared that he got smacked in the face with a bird. I mean, from the video and everything else, and then the next thing you know, you see Fabio, and his face is cut open, and he's bleeding pretty bad. And he's still on the ride, because they were filming him on this ride as part of whatever campaign they were doing. So it was all for promotional purposes. He said it was a miracle. He's 62 years old. According to the outlet, Fabio was in an event in Williamsburg to celebrate the inauguration of the new ride, Apollo's Chariot, and that was being filmed at the time. So the roller coaster, he says, it goes down at 80 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour, over a pond and back up and then upside down. So when it came down and went over the pond at like 85 miles an hour, so what happened is, over the pond, there was a bunch of geese there. I'm talking about hundreds of geese. And one got sucked in. I saw this very close up. The geese hit the video camera that they were filming him with. What happened, the goose hit the video camera shattered at 85 miles an hour. I didn't have enough reflexes fast enough to turn my head, and I saw totally the metal passing by, and it cut the bridge of my nose. That was from the camera. Then I turned, and it was a miracle, because then it was all the rest of the ride. After I was cut, I was upside down. Of course, the blood rushes to your head. So when I came off, my face was really bloody. Now, he was rushed to the hospital. While many feared the star's nose was broken, he said the injury, it looked more horrific than what it was. They thought, oh my God, it was like a broken nose and this and that. That's a big deal, because he's a model. They thought because of all the blood, my nose was broken. You know how big was the cut? It was just one stitch. But according to Fabio, that did not stop attorneys from circling like vultures.
Of course.
He insisted he wasn't interested in ruffling any feathers, so to speak. Now, let me tell you, during that time, every single law firm in America, 3 or 4 big ones, they came up to me and said, Fabio, that's going to be like the first easy $4 or $5 million in your life. I said, no. It's principle. I did my job. I'm not going to sue them. I took the job. I signed the contract. They noted that it was the first time he just said, look, it was not the bird that hit my face. It was a part of the camera that exploded. And by the way, when that bird hit the camera above that pond, the camera has never been found.
Right.
The tape disappeared. It was never found. So they never actually got the camera. It's at the bottom of that lake, at the bottom of the amusement park. Either that or nobody. Either way, no one's gone in to get it. No one's been able to find it. They said they dove for it. They couldn't find the damn camera. So they don't know where in the hell it is. Fabio now says, hey, look, as far as that is concerned, you can't take life too seriously. You'll be a miserable bastard if you take your life seriously. We should have fun, laugh at those times. I feel sorry sometimes.
Oh, we laughed at you, bro.
Yeah.
That wasn't the issue.
Yeah. Life is truth. Don't be so sensitive. So there you go. Update from Fabio, recalling something that happened some 20-some years ago. But our question today, what not so awesome thing happened to your head or your face? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Karen. Welcome to the men's room.
Hi.
Hola.
So, the one of the unfortunate things that has happened to my head or face was when I was 8 years old. It was just after New Year's, and I went to give my uncle's dog this, big kiss and hug. I was 8 years old. This dog was aggressive, but, I was a dumb little kid. Well, when I went to give the dog a hug, it spun around and bit me in the face.
Oh.
Yeah, they do that. How much face did it get in its mouth?
So my bottom, it got mainly the left part of my mouth.
Okay.
So I had basically flaps hanging off of my face. And I spent 3 hours in the hospital with the doctor stitching my face back together.
I'm sure he probably needed to get shots after that as well.
Not really, because the dog wasn't like rabid or anything. But when they numbed it, they gave me basically a horse tranquilizer. And while the doctor was stitching my face, he had to tell me to stay still and to stay quiet because I kept talking. Like, I wouldn't stop talking.
Talking?
Talking or coughing?
Talking.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I wouldn't stop talking while he was trying to stitch my mouth back together.
Okay.
If I'm that doctor, your mouth is stitched all the way shut. Like,
Karen,
look.
Does your face look okay now, or is there some scars from that? It's not like you can cover it with a beard.
There's a little bit of scarring, but it's not as bad as it could have been, because the doctor, if he didn't like a stitch, he'd redo it.
Okay, well, that's good. Did they put the dog down?
Yeah, unfortunately, the dog had to be put down because she was abused when she was a puppy by my grandpa.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So when he passed away, the dog went to my uncle.
Oh, so your grandfather couldn't feel the guilt of what he'd manufactured there?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, all right.
Mm.
Yeah.
That explains why the dog was aggressive. You've been beating on it since it was a puppy.
And also, man, don't sneak up on dogs that aren't yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can F with my dog in certain ways, but the dog knows me. It's all fine. But, like, with my friends' dogs, even though we're real good together, I'm not going to sneak up on it and try to give it a hug. It's just a much different kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's fact.
My kids hug all over that goddamn dog. All the time. And the poor dog, like, we got the dog as a puppy, and my kid, they just cannot help themselves. So, like, before they go to bed, they give the dog a hug. But let's say give it this long hug. And just the look on my dog's face is like, I effing hate this. I do. But I'm cool. I'm like, I know. I'm like, guys, you got to
doesn't like affection. She doesn't like affection.
It's not that. But dogs like affection if you're going to rub their belly, scratch them behind the ears. That's what a dog's looking for. Just holding it. They're like, okay. I'm not a big hugger.
Yeah, and look, right, she was a kid, but you're right.
Sure.
I'm pretty good with dogs, but if you don't know a dog and you just kind of reach for it the wrong way or whatever, even a good dog is going to react.
Supposed to be behind it.
Yeah.
Surprise! They're coming in with hugs.
What not so awesome thing happened to your head or face? 206-421-ROCK.
I told you that when I was a kid, I must have been 4 or 5, so I don't remember it. But that my parents look out back and the whole family's in the house and it's some massive big dog. Same thing. I'm just hugging it. They don't know where it came from, how it got back there, but they were so scared that it was going to attack. Everybody was so scared of the dog, they were like, eventually he'll just stop hugging it. And the dog ran off.
So wait, they're scared for you.
Correct.
But they didn't come out to help you.
The way I remember the story now, it sounds bad, but no, I think they were just kind of frozen. It didn't last too long, but
you don't want to go out and scare the dog either.
Right. It's just
that's
your kids
the story
out there
they're
just hugging a giant dog.
In D.C. that they don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I told you, I had a weird thing with dogs. I was a kid once taking a bath. The dog scratched on the door, and somebody opened it, and the dog tore into the house, made a left, ran straight back to the bathroom, and jumped in the tub.
He wanted to see you naked. That dog was a perv.
Probably.
And it wasn't your dog, right? No. That's what's so weird about that.
I know.
What not so awesome thing happened to your head or face? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Sean. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I was done running sound at the 4th Ave Tav in Olympia a bunch of years back, and I got into my Ram Charger to leave, and the heat wasn't working, so I opened the hood, flipped the switch, slammed the hood down, and it popped into reverse, and I ran around the side of the truck to stop it from running over this kid loading his drum kit in. I tripped over his drum kit, and the front tire of a 79 Dodge Ram Charger ran over my head.
Oh!
Partially detached my ear, opened my chin up really wide, and it took 12 staples for my chin and 13 stitches in my ear to sew my ear back together and reattach it to my head.
What time was this? Like midnight?
Probably more like 2 in the morning.
Oh, God.
I mean, do you remember what it felt like as it was rolling over your head?
It didn't even hurt. It just happened so fast. It was just done.
So
I hopped up, ran after my truck, and stopped it.
Were you aware that it had even happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you drive yourself to the hospital?
Yes, I did.
Were you looking at your ear hanging off when you were driving?
No, I was arguing with everybody that I was fine and didn't need to go to the hospital. And the lead singer, the Funky Funkies, was like, "No, dude, you need to go."
Yeah, no one wants to go to the hospital. You'll do everything you can to try to talk your way out of it.
And sometimes,
I'm fine.
when someone's like, "I'm looking at you," I'm telling you, man, you need to go.
Seriously. What not so awesome thing happened to you, your head or your face? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
99.9 KISW. The men's room is in progress.
It's all roller coasters these days. Different story. As we head to Cedar Point Amusement Park, a woman waiting in line for the Top Thrill Dragster roller coaster was hit in the head with a chunk of metal the size of a man's hand. The incident has left 44-year-old Rachel Hawes of Michigan in intensive care with a brain injury, according to a family statement. We are devastated by last weekend's accident at Cedar Point. We want to thank everyone for their thoughts and prayers during this time. Rachel is fighting for her life. We would like to ask for privacy in this difficult time. News came 8 days after the horrifying incident at the Ohio amusement park that sent people in line scrambling for safety and seriously injured the woman. The Ohio Department of Agriculture chief of amusement rides, who knew that was a title?
I did not know that was a thing.
He said a piece became dislodged, an L-shaped bracket attached to the back of a train car designed to look like a dragster on another ride.
Mm-hmm.
The bracket, which was attached by bolts, is supposed to hover just over the track in a series of sensors that keep tabs on the coaster as it makes its way around the track. The ride goes from standstill to 120 miles an hour. And just 3.8 seconds to give you an idea how fast this piece of metal was flying when it came off. At some point in its descent, the bracket came in contact with the coaster's track and ripped off from the coaster train and struck the woman in the head while she was waiting in line for a different ride.
Dang.
Investigation has found that half of the bolts that secured the bracket to the train body had also dislodged. The state on Monday released the one-page incident report, which identified the victim. The report said she had an unknown type of head injury. Our question, what not so awesome thing happened to your head or your face? 206-421-ROCK.
You mean an unknown type of head injury? A piece of metal came off a roller coaster and hit her in the head.
You know what happened.
Yeah, come on. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the men's room.
Boo, bitches.
Boo!
You guys are starting to give me the vibes of Final Destination.
Yeah, today is probably going to sound like that a lot.
Yeah.
The crappy part is I'm sitting here injured, sitting here talking to you, but that's not what it is. It happened back, my story is when I was like maybe 12 or 13. I remember this back in Southern California in the high desert, on the street that we used to live on. We used to take our sleds down the wash down there 20 feet, go down the wash, or pull cacti up across the road, try to pop tires of cars going across. These are the good old days, but we used to have
the good old days, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it. Vandalism.
What's funny about that cacti across the street, I remember about 30 years later when I went back down there and lived there, I ran over a speed bump done by a bunch of kids, and I was so pissed off that I ran over it, and I started thinking to myself, I used to do this.
Yep.
But no, we had random rock fights. We just go out there, and people would be maybe 40, 50 feet down the road, and we just started throwing rocks at each other, and we thought it was fun. And I think I was like 13 at the point in time, or whatever, and I never saw the rock coming, and all of a sudden I heard a thunk, and right on the top of my head, and 17 staples later, and they put my cranium back together.
Ooh, wow.
How big was this rock?
Crap out of me. It was a good size. I mean, it was a kid's hand size, so I started crying like a little bitch when it happened, and then it didn't really hurt because I don't know, maybe the shock came in or whatever. But then the blood started running down my face. I just tripped the freak out. So.
And then you got to run home, you know what I mean, as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And whenever this stuff happens, you're never close.
Well, that too, and then you know you're in trouble because they got to take you to the hospital.
Well,
yeah, but the trouble comes later.
Yeah, but you don't know that at the time. You don't realize they're not really mad at you. They're just they're scared too because something happened.
Right.
Like anything else.
Depending on which family you grew up with.
Yeah, fair, right? Yeah, okay, all right. So, okay, I got to ask you, what did you do to injure yourself now?
Oh, man. So I'm a little pissed at myself. I'm trying to figure this out, but I went and played softball on Saturday. I've been playing my whole life up here in Mount Vernon and stuff, and I went and I dove for a ball out in center field, and miles. When I got up, after I missed that ball, and I looked down, and my elbow was underneath my bicep.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, dude. It scared the crap.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
Why the hell did you dive for a ball?
The same reason why you go golfing.
I know, but well played. No, but still, it seems a little safer on my end. Now, granted, I can take a ball to the head at any moment. I understand that.
Yeah, as long as somebody calls for.
Dude, I can't even take off from a stop position and run and try to catch a ball without pulling a hammy. Last time I played softball was when we had the team foul balls. We go to Green Lake. I'm in the outfield. It's a routine fly ball. I'm just not used to running at a full speed from a dead stop. That's not how I run. You know, like I'll slowly jog into a run, but I don't go full speed. And I mean, 2 steps in, I'm like, oh God. You know, like
you got to warm up now, man. That's what happens with age. Like, for sure, you need to stretch. You know, when you're younger, they advise that you stretch. And generally they do. But if you don't, you'll be fine. But they say things like, you know, you'll cramp up later. Well, there's no later once you get older. It's like you will cramp when you move.
3 pitches later, Toppy almost gets his head taken off of the mound. I'm like, I'm never playing softball again. Like this thing.
Well, and that was such a beer league kind of situation we were doing. Like, people didn't warm up.
No.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.